In this 19th century sepia photograph, the Great Pyramid and the Sphinx appear as silent stone witnesses to an empire that vanished long ago. Constructing these monuments required the Egyptian state to coordinate a massive human workforce and relocate millions of tons of limestone across the desert. This society re-engineered its economy and culture to solve a single problem: the reality of death. The Nile River flooded with predictable regularity, turning this narrow riverbank into a reliable oasis surrounded by desert. Neighbors in Mesopotamia faced unpredictable flooding and the constant threat of invasion, leading them to build defensive structures like this rigid mud brick ziggurat to appease gods they viewed as fickle and cruel. Because the Nile's cycle of dry seasons and life-giving floods was so reliable, the Egyptians developed a profound belief in Ma'at, a perfect, eternal cosmic order. Believing their earthly life reflected this divine balance, the Egyptians dedicated their state resources to maintaining that order into the afterlife. This statue, carved directly into a mountain, reflects the pharaoh's role as a living incarnation of the gods, serving as the sky god Horus in life and the god of the underworld, Osiris, in death. Upon death, the pharaoh was expected to navigate the underworld successfully. This was a mandatory journey to keep the universe in balance. A successful resurrection was a matter of national security. If the pharaoh failed to transition into the next life, the Egyptian world firmly believed that the entire cosmic order would completely collapse. The Nile's agricultural surplus provided the funding and food necessary to sustain a specialized class of architects and the massive labor force required for monumental projects. This diagram shows the mechanics used to move 3.5-ton blocks. By utilizing the inclined plane, the wedge, and the lever, workers could precisely elevate massive stones into a geometric structure nearly 500 feet high. This mobilization of engineering and wealth served a specific functional purpose for the state. The pyramids were designed as launch pads, highly defended stone machines built to propel the pharaoh's soul into the eternal afterlife. The soul required a preserved physical vessel to return to, leading to complex mummification techniques to halt the natural process of decay. The invasive process of mummification gave priests an empirical understanding of human anatomy. This papyrus documents their observations on trauma and surgical treatments. Navigation through the afterlife required written instructions. These papyrus scrolls provided the specific spells and directions needed to pass through the underworld. They acted as a guide for final judgment, providing precise answers to secure a place in the eternal realm. This spiritual quest inadvertently left behind a legacy of medical knowledge and record-keeping that would influence the Mediterranean world for centuries. This stone contains the same decree in 3 different scripts. It captures the moment foreign cultures began to layer over Egypt, as the native language was gradually replaced following Roman and Arab conquests. Eventually, the mighty pharaohs fell, the hieroglyphs became completely unreadable, and the monumental cities were buried by the desert sands. Despite their focus on permanence, the physical and political empire of ancient Egypt could not survive the changes in the region's power structures. In the modern era, archaeologists began excavating these structures, lifting the Sphinx and the pyramids back out of the sand after centuries of burial. The empire is gone, and the gods they worshipped no longer have any active temples. Yet, because they engineered their architecture, their language, and their very bodies in order to withstand the end of the world, they remain physically present and completely legible to us today. 3,000 years later, the Egyptians are still here.